we're now nearing the end of 2021, and a lot of people are thinking ahead into the year 2022, and what's this real estate market going to do? I mean, if you were involved in the real estate market at all, or even thinking about getting in, whether you were going to buy a home or sell your home, 2021 was a crazy year for real estate. I mean, we've seen prices and values go up just like we've never seen before. And so, you know, that made it very uncomfortable for a lot of people to get into the market. They just saw these values going up, the prices going up, and they're just thinking, man, now is not the time to buy. The prices are way too high. Things have to calm down eventually or the market's gonna crash, right? And so everyone that I've talked to about real estate, if they're thinking about getting in or selling their home or whatnot, it's always the same question. Eric, when is the market going to crash? Or the market has got to crash at some point. When is that going to happen? And my answer to that is, I don't think the market's going to crash. I don't think it's going to crash anytime soon. You know, barring anything major, like, you know, we go to war with Russia or China or something like that. And if that were to happen, you know, the real estate values probably aren't going to be anywhere near the top of any of our concerns. But besides that, I mean, look, we just went through a global pandemic, and that caused the prices to go up. So I don't see any crash coming. I don't see, you know, anything affecting the market like we had back in 2008. And it's funny because, you know, that was 13 years ago, and people are still now weary about, you know, real estate from something that happened 13 years ago that was specific to the real estate market and the mortgage lenders still today. So no, I don't think there's going to be a crash, and I think the values are going to increase again next year in 2022. So I wanted to put down some stats because I think it's pretty eye-opening when you look at some of these stats over the past several years, this year here in 2021, and where I think things are going to go in 2022. So let's take a look. Now, some of these stats that I'm going to be showing you, they are going to be provided by NAR, the National Association of Realtors. That's where we're getting some of their statistics. So these are values in terms of home values based off home pricing over the last several years. But the numbers that I'm going to be going over are specific to the Flagstaff area. So depending on where you're at, obviously location determines so much in real estate. So things may vary between states, between regions within the country, but these stats that I'll be putting up here are specific for the Flagstaff area because that's where I'm at. And if you're watching this video, it's probably something that you're interested in. So, okay, looking at prior to 2018, you know, that's just the few years prior to that combined. The average increase in value for homes here in Flagstaff was 4 to 5%. So sometimes it was a little bit bigger, sometimes it was a little bit smaller, but that was the average was 4 to 5%. And in real estate, that's, you know, that's typical. That's something that, you know, over a long span of many years, decades, that's, you know, kind of what you can see as a general consistency when you average it all in together is about 4 to 5%. So nothing really crazy prior to 2018 coming out of the last real estate crisis, but you know, things were generally steadily increasing each year. Going from 2018 to 2019, we kind of stood similar to that same kind of percent in increase. It was at 5.7% for Flagstaff homes, which is still great. I mean, 5% return on your home, you know, and you think about that each year, like that's why I believe real estate is a good investment over the years. Now let's get into 2019 and 2020. That's where we saw the start of the major increases in values. So 19 to 20, we had, let's see if I can get one that works better. 11.8% increase in value of homes in Flagstaff. That's a pretty good jump, right? I mean, 11%, we'll take that every year as long as we can get that. That's great. But we saw things jump even higher in 2020 and 2021, which is crazy because we had the pandemic going on. And I don't think anyone would have predicted the amount of value increase and prices increase from the pandemic. I think a lot of people expected some type of crash, and we never really got that. I mean, it kind of slowed a lot of things. We shut a lot of things down, and now we're feeling the effects from that with the supply-demand issue. So the year 2020 to 2021, where we're at right now, we saw an increase at 24.7%. Yeah, you're reading that correctly. 24.7% increase in value. That's insane. That's an insane amount of increase, especially when you're talking about the average price of homes here in Flagstaff. I mean, those are huge gains. So, I mean, imagine you bought your house in 2018, and then you're looking at these increases, 5.7%, 11.8%, now 24.7%. That's where a lot of people are sitting right now, right? And so you have a lot of people that are looking to maybe get into the market, and they're thinking like, man, like I should have bought then, but I'll wait till the next year. Man, I should have bought then, but I'll wait till the next year. Bam, I should have, and it just keeps going and going and going. And now they're like, well, these home prices are way out of my league, or I'm not comfortable buying at these high prices. And so now I'm just gonna sit back and wait. And obviously depending on what your current situation is, you have to make that decision on what best suits you. So again, these are numbers from National Association of Realtors for here in Flagstaff. And so the question is, now that we've gone through such a crazy year in 2021, what is 2021, 2022? What are we looking at next, right? And so what they're projecting right now is another increase around 15%. So they projected that there's not going to be a crash. Things may calm down a little bit, but you could still project to have another 15% increase throughout the year of 2022, and that's amazing value. Not only that, when you're looking at these projections, you're looking at these past increases, it makes you wonder, like, what does the average home cost in Flagstaff now? Because we all know Flagstaff is a very expensive place to live, and with these increases, they keep going up. So the average cost of a home in Flagstaff now is, let's see if I can fit it on here. I'll put it on top. So it is right now at $538,700. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's an average home, right? Like, that's just for a young couple or young professionals trying to get into a home and start their family. Like, to think that you have to spend over $500,000 to get into an average home in Flagstaff. But let's think about this in this way, right? Like, you're thinking, well, man, there's no way I can buy a home now. Like, it's way too expensive. I'm gonna wait for the crash, right? Well, like we said, we're projecting that we could get another 15% increase in home value this year, which will come down from the 24%, but you're still increasing 15% from where you were at before. So think about that. A 15% increase in your average home at $538,700 is $80,805. That's awesome. So if these were to be true, I mean, and obviously we can't predict the future. We can't say that this is 100% certain, but everything that we've seen in the economy and the supply-demand issues in here in the Flagstaff area, if we went off these numbers right here, you could still buy a home today at $538,700. And a year later, if this is correct, you're gonna have $80,000, $80,805 in value in your home. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's, for most people, that's like a yearly salary, right? In 1 year of just sitting in your home. You're not having to make any upgrades to it. You just own the home. So, I mean, think about that. That's, you know, that's a lot of money. I know it's a lot of money to get in, but think about it in terms of the interest rates right now. The interest rates are still at historically low number, or at a low percentage right now. So you can afford much more than you were able to before with these low interest rates. And it's likely that these interest rates are probably soon going to start climbing up a little bit. So maybe now is the time to get in at that low rate. Maybe now is the time to get in at this price, because you passed it up when it was at $450. You passed it up when it was at $375. You passed it up when it was at $325. And now, just think about if you would have bought that house at $350, $375, you know, back in 2018, you know, you could be up in this range now, just by owning that home over a span of 3 to 4 years. So those are the numbers that I wanted to go over, because I think they're pretty eye-opening when you look at how much of an increase that we had over the last few years, where we still project where we're going based on the supply demand, and where these values could put you at, and what type of gains you could have on the value of your home just by owning a home and having some of these percentages come in. So that's where I think things are going. I don't think things are going to slow down really anytime soon in 2022. There's such a demand for people that want to come into Flagstaff, whether they're coming from the Phoenix area, whether they're coming from California. And I can tell you guys, people are steadily still coming from California. Like, there's people that know that 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, when their kids leave the house, or they can retire from their job, or whatever the case may be, they are getting out of that state, and they want to come to Flagstaff because Flagstaff is a desirable place to live. And even for them, it's still inexpensive. You know, if you compare Flagstaff as a small mountain town to Lake Tahoe, Big Bear, Telluride, Aspen, I mean, it's cheap. Flagstaff is cheap compared to those cities. So if you're thinking about buying, I still think it's a good time to buy. If you're gonna wait for the crash, man, you could be waiting for a long time, because the supply-demand issue right now for homes is nowhere near what it was when we had the crash before. Plus, that was all started from the mortgage lenders back in 2008. You know, they say a typical healthy market, in terms of the amount of homes that are actively for sale in the region, you should have an inventory of about 6 months of homes for sale. In Flagstaff, we're sitting at about like 9 days right now. So there's like nothing for sale. So I think maybe things might open up a little bit, because people are gonna realize that, hey, this market's not just gonna crash, or the COVID thing's finally gonna start settling away, and you know, things might steady off a little bit. You know, we have the inflation issues going on, and you never know what could happen with this current administration in the White House. But I think, you know, real estate is still a solid bet. I still think you're going to see some good increases coming in over the next few years and for the long term, especially here in Flagstaff. And with the historically low interest rates, it's still a good time to buy. You can still afford a lot of home for you know, for your budget. So if you have any questions on this, any comments, leave them down below. If you have any questions on Flagstaff real estate, I'd be glad to help you. Or if you have any questions on what I think the market might do here or there, or a year from now, whatever the case may be, you know, leave a question, comment down below. You can email me. My information is down below, is there as well. If you have questions on lending, on like where you might sit on your current home, if you have value in your home, I have a couple of local lenders that I work with, you know, each week, and I'll be glad to share their information as well, because that's not my expertise, but there's a lot of good information that they can provide to really help you kind of make that best game plan for you when it comes to buying a home or selling a home. So, all right, guys, appreciate you. Take care, and talk to you soon.